Good afternoon, everyone. Guys, we have had a wild day today. So the Argentinians are threatening the Falklands. Guys, under no circumstances is this not going to happen. Now, there's a huge interconnected, conflict here that nobody's seeing. And to me, it looks like our politicians are, if you're in the United Kingdom, it seems to me that our politicians are either not clever enough to point this out for themselves, or they're that much under control of someone else they don't really care until somebody tells them to care. So it really feels to me like we've got puppets in charge of our country. So out of Argentina, then the last couple of where is it? I think this was like today. Hang on. Well, I'll share it with you guys. Guys, there is going to be quite a bit of dot connecting today, and I'm going to show you how all these conflicts around the world, they're all connected, because it's like a big chess game, and you've got missiles being moved to this country and this, and these guys allying with these guys, and these guys saying they'll buy oil off these guys if they can get it, and once you understand it's a big game. When we get like our politicians coming up there saying these, saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that, you think, right, okay, right, and you can work it out. All this stuff, it's already in motion. And the next, I'd say the next 12, 15, maybe even a couple of years, it's already planned out in front. So this is from the UK Defence Journal. Now, it's a bit of an embarrassing article, guys, honestly. Anyway, Argentina, no threat to the Falklands, even with F-16 jets. So Argentina's recent purchase of F-16 fighter jets may sound like a big step forward for its military, but it doesn't significantly alter the situation in the South Atlantic. So, I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying, this is coming, we're going to have to start giving serious thought into what's happening in the Falkland Islands. Now, the MOD have come out and they've said, it's not a serious threat. Guys, they don't know either they don't know what they're talking about, or they're just throwing out propaganda. Either way, it doesn't matter, because don't worry, guys, I'll tell you what's happening. So what's happening in this sphere is Argentina is trying to play both sides of this spectrum. They're trying to say, oh, we want to be NATO, oh, we want to be BRICS, and they're not saying anything to anyone. What's going to happen is at some point when Argentina have bought enough NATO stock weapons, they're going to then just go to the BRICS. Guys, it is 100% inevitable. Why? Because BRICS are the only, the BRICS nations are the only ones that they can shift the oil through. Now, again, for those who've been following this channel, you will know that any conflict in and around the Falklands has everything to do with Antarctica and the vast, I probably couldn't say vast enough, amounts of natural resources there. Oil will focus on, but we're going to focus on oil because that's the one that's been confirmed. That's the one we know that's there. Now, for the rest of this video, guys, I don't really want to keep talking about how much is down there, but, the Russians have done a survey and they've found that there's almost double the amount of oil down there that the Saudi Arabians have. Guys, that is a huge deposit of oil. So when we're reading through the next articles and we're connecting these dots on how Russia's involved, you can kind of take any financial restraint, you just remove them because of the amount of oil down there, because of the amount of oil down there, that country will be given money, people will borrow that country money. So another article then comes out and they say, where are we? Yeah. So this is about UK defence capabilities in the Falkland Islands, and UK defence capabilities are sufficient to deal with any threat from from Argentina. So Army Technology, a business service agency located in London that focus on the technologies required by military personnel and companies working on this important field, have offered a piece on the UK defence capabilities of the Falkland Islands following the agreement between Denmark and Argentina for the sale of a squadron of F-16 fighters. Now, if these guys weren't worried about this, if they thought there was no threat, why are they asking people to look into this? Why are they looking at people to give objective opinions and, you know, and do these studies on what the, you know, what a war would, what it would basically be down there? Now, in January 2024, James Heppey, who was then the defense minister, in fact, yeah, I think he was the defense minister. Well, the then Minister of State for the Armed Forces. I don't even know what that means. I think it's defense minister. Anyway, stated in a written UK parliamentary response that he was satisfied that the military presence in the South Atlantic was at the appropriate level to ensure the defence of the islands. So, guys, that is then when he wrote that article. You know, he's satisfied back then. So what's been happening since then? Well, what we've seen is we've seen a lot of sanctions on Russia and a lot of sanctions on Russian oil. So what happened is the Russians then had to start and think of another way that they could sell their oil. Now, they've been selling this to China. They've been selling it to basically the other BRICS nations. Now, what they've been doing is, rather than use approved shipping companies that are insured, that are liable, that have got all the right inspections and service history on their ships, the Russians are just using what they're calling a dark fleet. So this is basically, a fleet of tankers that are unregistered that just move Russian oil about, and that's literally all they do. And anybody that wants to buy cheap Russian oil, they can buy cheap Russian oil. So all the sanctions really did is put the prices up in the West, because Putin's still getting his oil out, he's still selling it, and a lot of this oil gets bought cheap by intermediate countries. It gets reprocessed, refined, and then it gets sold back to us in the UK, just at a greater cost. So we know that this is happening. So now you've got to look at this context. You've got Russia, who have the means, the transportation, and the infrastructure to sell this oil. And then what we said as well, you know, the Falkland Islands at the moment can defend themselves. But then again, what came out in, in an article by Putin when he said he would arm the West's adversaries. So Putin threatens to arm the West's enemies with long-range missiles. What do we think we could do with long-range missiles, guys, if we was in, I don't know, say Argentina? Russia could arm the West's enemies with long-range missiles if Ukraine uses NATO-supplied weapons to strike Russian territory. And guys, who is one of the main advocates for Ukraine to use NATO-supplied weapons into Russia? The United Kingdom. So of course it makes perfect sense that when this happens, Russia just says, okay, right, you're doing that, yeah? Right, okay, well, we're going to give a load of long-range, what did it say, long or medium? Long-range, guys, well, we're going to give a load of long-range missiles now to Argentina, and they're going to put them right off the shores, you know, in range of the Falkland Islands. And then guess what? All of a sudden, James Heppey's little, statement where he says, the Falkland Islands are secure, the Argentinians won't be able to take them. Straight away, that just gets turned on its head because the Russians have a really good supply of missiles. And then in the back rooms, Putin and the Argentinians, they have an agreement whereby, and again, a lot of this is speculation, guys. Obviously, nobody's got a Christmas ball. Nobody's got a crystal ball. We can't see into the future. But then what will happen is Putin will say, right, okay, Argentina, you've got my missiles. We've given you a ton of money. We've given you a ton of military equipment. You're going to join BRICS. Go take the Falkland Islands. We'll support you. Once you've captured them, we'll come and help you sell that oil. Simple, guys. It's just simple, guys. This is simple economics. It's nothing. I'm not saying anything there that's like a deep conspiracy. What's the conspiracy? People want to make money. Oil companies want to get oil. People want to sell oil. People want to be rich. The Argentinians want to be rich. Guys, there's no controversy there. Nothing I've said is, oh, that's a bit dodgy. So the problem is now, why are we in the United Kingdom? Why are we just turning a blind eye to this, which I really think we are? Because in the next Falklands conflict, because guys, in my opinion, my speculation is that this is inevitable at some point. We won't be able to fight another war like we did back in '82, because what the problem will be this time is, if you're smart, if the Argentinians are smart, they will wait for the war in Ukraine, for NATO troops to be, inserted into Ukraine. However that looks, that's going to happen at some point. They would, of course, wait for that to happen before they made a move on the Falklands. Because once the UK is tied up in Ukraine, we won't be able to send as many assets down to the South Atlantic to take this back. Now, just quickly, guys, what it's all about. Let me show you what it's all about. For those, I don't know if everybody knows where the Falkland Islands is on a map, but this is the Falkland Islands here, guys. This is Argentina here. Really, really close. Now, the reason everybody's fighting over that, well, I say they're fighting over it. The reason why everybody will be fighting over that is because of the British Antarctic territory, which is absolutely huge. So this is the British Antarctic territory, guys, all right? This is it. So whoever controls those little islands there, which I've just shown you on the other map, controls this area, which I'm going to estimate that's like 1/8 of Antarctica or something. And again, I've said this a lot of times, guys. Not only is it not only is it a huge patch of land, real estate, ocean, what is that? Sea, sorry. The oil that's in there, that's another huge thing. But also, this is the gateway to Antarctica. This peninsula here is the gateway to Antarctica. All the way around Antarctica, it's sheet ice, very difficult to get ships in. This area here, it's got a beach, you can get ships in there, you can get vessels in there. Nowhere else you can do that. Now, the British have been very good historically of doing this, going around the world and controlling the entry points. Gibraltar is another example off the top of my head. Whoever controls Gibraltar controls the Mediterranean. So this is a huge tactical gambit for Great Britain. I think we should be putting more resources down there. We should be giving this serious consideration. The amount of money that's down there, guys. Do you think Russia will loan Argentina whatever money they want to go and fight this war? Of course they will. Do you think China will agree to buy as much oil as they can, from this area? Of course they will. Do the Russians have the capacity to do this? Of course they have. They're doing it already. So now when you look at the news and it says Britain is green lighting the use of British Storm Shadow missiles into Russia, in the back of your head think, right, okay, so that means Putin, as soon as that happens, Putin's going to give his long-range missiles to Argentina. Then Argentina are going to threaten the Falkland Islands. Then you're going to have this whole thing erupt down there, guys. And for me, it makes more sense to, that is an actual British asset. And that's the way we are going. It's absolutely insane that we're getting, in the United Kingdom, we have this ridiculous net zero agenda, and we're being pushed towards using wind farms and solar, and the price of fuel is going up and up and up and up, and it looks like it's going up again in October. Well, we've got all that oil down there. I'll say it again, guys, almost twice as much as the Saudi Arabians have. The United Kingdom could be almost twice as rich as the Saudi Arabians. Guys, it's absolutely insane. We should be going down there. We should be taking that oil. We should be taking every drop that we can. Because guess what? This little planet we're on, guess who else is on that planet? The Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians. And do they have a green agenda? Do they care? No, of course not. So we in the United Kingdom, we're breaking our backs by taxing people for using burning hydrocarbons. We're taxing ourselves to death, and the Russians are just going burning and burning and burning, and they've all got cheap oil and better quality of living, probably not better quality of living. But you see where I'm going, guys, right? It just seems absolutely farcical. Anyway, guys, that was the gist of this video. There's more escalations in the Falklands. It's progressing every day. Next time you see long-range missiles being, next time you see the announcements on the news that Britain are agreeing long-range missile strikes into Russia, and then this is being green-lit, just think in the back of your head, okay, that means that Putin will be also sending long-range missiles down to Argentina. because why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't you guys when you're in this state of conflict? Guys, this whole thing is just a chessboard. Everything's interconnected. And that's it, guys. I'm going to back to grid, and I'll try and get you another video later.